Am I the asshole for asking my friend to move a picture of him and his wife because it made my wife uncomfortable? Me, male 32, and my wife, Dahlia, female 28, lost our apartment 2 months ago and moved in with mom temporarily. Issues began to arise between Dahlia and mom, and I had to ask my friend, Anthony, male 31, to let us move until I get enough money to rent out. His wife was away visiting family and he agreed, but even there, some issues started to arise. FYI, Dahlia is very shy around Anthony. She grew up in conservative home and so it's understandable, but sometimes it can be a bit much, I admit that. For example, she freaked out when she accidentally drank from his glass. She also once made a fuss when he passed by the guest room when she was lying down and the door was open. Thankfully, Anthony was super understanding and we were able to talk some of these issues out. Last night, Dahlia was passing the hall and noticed a framed picture of Anthony and his wife kissing hanging on the wall. She told me about it and said it made her uncomfortable. She asked if I could speak to Anthony about it, but he didn't take it well. He gave me a look when I spoke to him and said this was bonkers, because first of all, his wife put it there. And second of all, the picture holds sentimental meaning to him and his wife, and argued that it wasn't some explicit picture of them, just a normal wedding kiss. We started arguing and he said that it wasn't like it was hanging in the living room wall or a perfectly lit room. I asked him to be a little more considerate because it's not like I asked him to remove it completely, just move it elsewhere that Dahlia won't reach or keep it off the wall till we leave. He said he was sorry but still refused. I explained how Dahlia was feeling, but he said that again, he was sorry but would not move the picture. We argued some more and he said that it's his house and that I was being pushy and kind of too comfortable to make such demand, and be pushy still. This morning, Dahlia refused to even come out of the room until the picture is moved. Anthony is refusing, which makes it worse. Now I feel like I'm getting stuck between a rock and a hard place. Yes, she might just be overreacting, but I feel like this isn't such a big ask for Anthony to decline and turn down. For what it's worth, if it were me, I'd go the extra mile to make sure my guests are comfortable. Anthony has been a friend of mine for 10 years. I wouldn't have asked to move in with him if I didn't have such strong bond with him. He himself constantly talks about all the things and situations I helped him out with, and we are considered brothers. You are the asshole and so is your wife. You're in their home. Your friend is doing you a huge favor and this is what he gets in return? Your wife is being weird as fuck. You're enabling, coddling her. Find somewhere else to live if you're going to behave like that. Right? I mean, the audacity. Dahlia needs help. Original poster and his wife should just move out if they aren't going to appreciate their friend doing them a favor and putting a roof over their head. Anthony could have the picture painted on the entire living room wall. Original poster has no right to ask him to remove it. No wonder original poster's mom had a problem with Dahlia. You are the asshole, original poster. You are guests in their home because you are currently homeless. Your wife is clearly the problem here. Get a grip. You are the asshole. Yo, and they're currently homeless after already staying with someone else and wearing out their welcome there. Like he's basically setting up that they're just going to blow through every single person they have an even passing good relationship with to get what they want. If I was Anthony, the first would walk around naked, then tell them to fuck off and leave my house. If your wife is uncomfortable with images of someone kissing, wait until she finds out where babies come from. You are the asshole. Your wife is being bonkers, and you are both being horrible to a friend who has saved you from potential homelessness. Greater than if your wife is uncomfortable with images of someone kissing, wait until she finds out where babies come from. What would be uncomfortable about a stork putting your baby by the door and ringing the bell? Oh boy, it's the stork. Wait, where's the baby? Stork. Honey, me and you are gonna make the baby. Cue Barry White music. You are the asshole. First your wife had issues with your mom, now she's having issues with Anthony. Sounds like your wife is the real issue. From your title I was expecting your hosts to have a semi-nude or nude portrait in the guest room. But, no, she's freaking out over a standard wedding kiss pose in the hallway? Please, child, you need to hurry and get your own place. I think you're lucky Anthony didn't ask you to leave immediately. Yup, common denominator as wife. You are the asshole, and your wife seems to be systematically driving wedges between you and important people in your life. Maybe that's worth examining. If Dahlia has issues with everyone in her sphere, I promise she's the issue. Common denominator. You are the asshole. Let me guess, the issues you had staying with your mother had everything to do with your wife being absolutely ridiculous? This isn't about being from a conservative home, so what is really going on here? Was she raised in a cult? Is she affiliated with some fringe religious group? Seriously, you're staying in their home and throwing a fit over him kissing his wife in a photo? And your wife is throwing a fit and refusing to leave her room until they take down their perfectly normal wedding photo? And your comment about just doing it to keep guests happy is so baffling given the situation. Like, the photo isn't the issue here. And it's not the only problem that's already happened. So, your wife also freaked out after accidentally taking a sip of his water. Does this mean he's also not supposed to drink water in his own home to keep her comfortable? And then she got all upset because he had the audacity to walk past the door, which she had left open, while she just happened to be sitting on the bed. So, he's also not allowed to walk through his home. What else is he not going to be allowed to do in his own house? Breathe. It would be bad enough if you were just guests that were visiting for a weekend, but this guy was extremely generous to allow the two of you to stay there while you figure out your financial burden. You're not even guests in the traditional sense, you're basically just roommates who aren't contributing financially. And this is how you treat him for taking you into his home? What is really going on with your wife? And why are you enabling this atrocious behavior and extreme entitlement? You letting her continue with her childish tantrum, in someone else's home, is making you as much of an asshole as your wife. Though, I do wonder if there's an underlying mental illness behind your wife's behavior. If you keep this up, you're going to need another place to stay. And I'm sure that your wife will inevitably get you kicked out of the next place, and the place after that. If I were Anthony, and for some reason didn't want to kick them out yet, I'd 1000% not apologize if I knew it would keep her in her room. I mean, I wouldn't apologize anyways, but bonus. Anthony qualifies for sainthood just for putting up with this nonsense as long as he has. You are the asshole. He's nice enough to let you live at his house, for free, and you're asking him to redecorate for you? Of all the nerve. And your wife kicked up a fuss when Anthony walked down the hall past her door? It was she who didn't shut the door, for Pete's sake. If I were you, I'd start packing, because Anthony is about to throw you guys out. If I were Anthony, the first would be packing for Original Poster. If Anthony was a real friend, he'd just make Dahlia move out, and ask Original Poster to stay for a long chat about healthy relationships. You are the asshole. I don't care if it's a full frontal nude on the wall. Beggars don't get to be choosers. If it bothers your wife so much, then leave. Your friend is being incredibly generous by letting you stay there. Your wife's request is beyond unreasonable. I would argue now is the perfect time to put some nudes up. You are the asshole. Go stay in a hotel. If I was your friend, I would have kicked her to the curb for her entitled, self-absorbed attitude. What gives you the right to go stay with someone as a favor and make it so they can't feel comfortable in their own house? No wonder why there were issues between her and your mother. Indeed, to respect your friend, you should absolutely leave his house immediately. You can apologize to him when you're out of his house, but your wife should in no way still be there, since she's already multiple times tried to bully him in his own home and is currently giving him the silent treatment, in his own home where you are staying for free. Your wife needs to get a grip. You are homeless, she has already got you kicked out of your mother's, and now she is being ridiculously prudish about a picture of a fully clothed married couple in their own home. If she doesn't want him to see her lying down, she should shut the door. You are the asshole for enabling this. Exactly this. I really want to know what she did to get them kicked out of his mother's. And also why Original Poster is seemingly incapable of telling his wife no. This should never have gotten to the point of asking the friend. Original Poster should have shut it down immediately. You are the asshole, and this is a deeply unreasonable request from your wife. I simply do not know what else to tell you. I agree. I'm speechless with such entitlement from Original Poster and his wife. And she's refusing to leave the room until her crazy demands are met? Original Poster, one question, considering you will be homeless soon, does the guest room has a direct exit to the street? Your wife will need it. You can leave through the front door though when you get kicked out. The entitlement, wow. Dahlia is having a wonderful influence on your life, isn't she? She's not shy, she's demanding and obnoxious. If you keep caving into her weird demands, you'll be lucky to have any friends left. You are the asshole and grow a pair. You are the asshole. If this is Dahlia's reaction to pictures of a wedding kiss and accidentally drinking out of someone's glass, she is not just conservative, she is in need of therapy. I am even wondering if she was molested or abused in some way. Didn't you kiss at your own wedding? Anthony is doing you a big favor to let you stay with him. You're being unreasonable to think he should comply with your wife's phobia. I'm very curious about Dahlia's conservative upbringing. I was homeschooled by hardcore evangelical Christians, and even with that background, My parents had a picture of themselves kissing up on the wall. Even the most conservative people I know believe that it's acceptable for married couples to kiss. Something else is going on here. Maybe Dahlia has some trauma to work through, maybe her conservative upbringing was even more culty than mine, maybe she's deliberately trying to isolate original poster. But this is not the normal outcome of being raised conservative. I grew up fundy and it would have been seriously frowned upon to have kissing pictures. I was super uncomfortable even seeing adults kiss, it felt pornographic. She's tall. Even if this is the case for her, get therapy. You can't take your shit out on other people. What? You two don't have a home. You are guests in someone else's house. And Dahlia wants the house adjusted to her wishes? I have a surprise for her. The world does not revolve around your absurd ideas and boundaries. She is a dictator, and you are her messenger boy. What happened to your self-esteem? Your mom, this friend, they won't be the last you lose over this princess. You are the asshole. This isn't about accommodating a guest's reasonable, or only mildly unreasonable, preferences. Your wife's discomfort with a picture of a kiss is so far beyond the norm that no host should reasonably be expected to accommodate her. You say, conservative home, but it sounds rather more than that. Might therapy help her to adjust to a more usual, societal norm? And you are also because you sound much more aware than her of how odd her behavior is, and yet you're trying to defend her. When someone is unreasonable, their spouse is not honor-bound to defend them. It sounds as though it would be a lot kinder for you to explain to her that her reactions are out of whack, and she's the person who needs to be more flexible and accommodating. Also, you stop being a guest when you are staying for an indeterminate period of time because your wife got you thrown out of your parents' house and you can't afford to go elsewhere. A guest stays for 3 days and is so grateful for the free accommodations that they don't say shit about said free accommodations. Unless it's to make the host's life easier. You are doing neither of those things. Be grateful and ask your wife to be chill before you lose a third place to stay. You are the asshole for even entertaining your wife's bullshit. You are guests in his home, she's throwing a toddler-level tantrum over a photo of a wedding kiss. Can you not see how absolutely ridiculous that is? If you're prepared to cater to her foolishness, then good for you, no one else is obligated to tolerate it. You are the asshole. If I was Anthony, I'd have already asked you to leave. Honestly, I'd go one step further and cut all ties. This is such a strange hill to die on and it's really embarrassing for them. You are the asshole. This is bizarre. And I guess now we know why Dahlia and Mom had issues. Dahlia sounds like a nightmare guest who expects everyone to tiptoe around and cater to her anxiety, instead of maybe potentially getting therapy, considering most of the examples are stuff she's done to herself, like, just close the door? And original poster is enabling it and making his generous friend feel like he's an asshole. Staying in someone else's home and refusing to come out of the room you're using is super rude. If I were the friend, I would say, sorry, this isn't working out and you both need to go. You are the asshole. The only thing I would move, if I was him, is you and your wife out his house. It's clear that something is total wrong with your wife. Agree. Your wife would do well to remember she is being graciously offered housing in someone's home. You know the old saying, beggars can't be choosers. Also, the fact that your wife freaked out when Anthony passed by the door is all on your wife. If she is uncomfortable, she should keep the door closed. Also, agree with the poster above. Your wife has some very extreme reactions to perfectly normal situations, and perhaps she would benefit from therapy to address the root of these issues. Greater than I asked him to be a little more considerate. You what? More considerate than letting you stay in his home? You are the asshole. And Dahlia is TA. Anthony is a saint.